Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Firebat, and this is a card review. It's going to try and go over a quick summary of all the cards for you, so you don't have to sit through a really long review, and we can kind of tell you what might be cool, what might be good, without having to go into long-winded explanation. If you would like to see long-winded explanations of all the cards, check out the Omnislash channel, where I do the Omnistone show with Kibler and Frodan. We go into a group discussion about all of the cards at some point or another on some of those shows. Might be worth checking out. So, first off, we have a Rogue Secret, 2 mana evasion. The Rogue Secrets are pretty cool. They allow defensive actions in Rogue and try to bring out the control Rogue archetypes like Miracle Rogue and Malagos Rogue. I think this card will potentially see play and potentially push the control Rogue archetype. It's kind of like an Ice Block, which is pretty good, but it has to be played the turn before you expect to take damage, so it's slightly worse than Ice Block, but may see play in those kind of archetypes as a defensive measure to help you set up to be able to burst them with Malagos or whatever. Because you can just play this, ignore the board, kill them the next turn. Didn't set up your kill. Alright, next up, Line Manipulator. 4 mana, 4/5 elemental. Very strong tempo card because it reduced the costs of cards that didn't start in your hand by 2, which could potentially be minions, it could be spells. So there's a lot of random card generation in Hearthstone, and this is a 4 mana, 4/5 with a tag. So I imagine it's actually pretty good and it helps that archetype. The one thing is elementals kind of suck. Elemental Mage in particular really sucks because, well, Elementals suck because all the Elemental Power Spike cards are on 7, right? And 7, you want to play Bone Mare if you're a Tempo deck. So Tempo Elemental doesn't really work well together because Blaze Caller is honestly a lot worse than Bone Mare. Even when you get it to proc, like, it's like, I'd rather play a Bone Mare. So that's my only concern about Elemental decks, is they need some other juice point, because the juice point being at 7 is not great. Lesser Jasper Spellstone, deal 2 damage to a minion, gain 3 armor to upgrade. So obviously in first stage not great. We come down here, we see a different changed size thing. Deal 2 damage to a minion, gain 3 armor to upgrade. Deal 4 damage to a minion, gain 3 armor to upgrade. Deal 6 damage to a minion. So it's always to a minion, so you can't go face with it, which makes it a lot less good. You can't jam it at people's face. Really hard to evaluate if this is good or not. 1 mana deal 2 is decent, though. 1 mana deal 2 has seen play. Living Roots was played in Druid for the option of being able to deal 2. It had the option of going face, which made it a lot better, but this has the option of upgrading, of course. Gaining 3 armor, it's hard to evaluate if that's good or not. One thing that this brings into perspective is potentially Miracle Druid, because it's a 1 mana spell that does big stuff, which could set up for tempo for gadgets and auctioneer turns. In the light of the recent Innervate nerf, or not really recent, but the Innervate nerf, it makes it a little bit harder to do Miracle Druid stuff, but Miracle Druid becomes something to look at. Cheap spells, also works well with other cheap spells like Claw, allows you to upgrade this. Overall, hard to evaluate. It could be good, could be bad. It's very mid-range. Alright, Grizzly Guardian. 8 mana, Taunt, Death Rattle, recruit 2 minions that cost 4 or less, Beast. 8 mana Taunt Death Rattle sounds terrible. So even though the effect's really cool, you can't control the effect because it's a Death Rattle, not a Battle Cry. So you'd have to then play something to kill it yourself, which is horrible. Its stats are ridiculously low for the mana cost. And if we look at other cards that are a Death Rattle that are really slow like this, the Priest card comes to mind. The Priest 4/8 Taunt, Lifelink, and Death Rattle, kill one of your opponent's minions. That card only sees play when you're playing it for 4 mana. So, this card has 0 chance to see play. It's garbage. Alright, Branching Pass. Choose twice. Draw a card. Give your minions +1 attack or gain 6 armor. It's a Druid card. This card actually seems pretty cool. It is super flexible. You can gain so much life against aggro. You can gain so many cards against control. Like, those are 2 really good options. And I guess you can gain 1 attack occasionally. I think you're pretty much never going to use that. The flexibility might make it see play. It's kind of like, you know, at the very end of your deck, you maybe throw this in here. One thing to consider is there's a lot of card draw in Druid now, because this can draw 2 cards, Nourish can draw 2 cards, Wrath can draw a card, Wild Growth can draw a card, Ultimate Infestation can draw a card. Like, you draw your entire deck as Druid very consistently. So the fact that you can draw all of your deck every single game with Druid makes it so that any sort of combo Druids can be really cool. Getting +1 attack in Token Druid is not worth playing this card, really, I don't think. Twig of the World Tree. 4 mana druid weapon. It's a 1/5 weapon. Death Rattle. Gain 10 mana crystals. So you can use it to set up combos with druid. If you have some kind of flexible way to remove your weapon, you can deal a bunch of damage with Malagos or something of that nature. So the problem is, though, it takes 5 swings to set up unless you remove it somehow, which is really, really slow. So even though you can draw your entire deck and set it up, also your opponent can play against it really well. If they run any weapon removal, they can just stop your combo from happening. And everybody's going to be running weapon removal if that deck becomes good, so this is probably useless. Probably fun for memes and wild. Wandering Monster. When an enemy minion attacks your hero, summon a 3-cost minion as the new target. So this is kind of like Bear Trap, but random. It seems garbage. Not going to help Hunter at all. Sleeping Oozling. Battlecry. Gain the death rattle of a random minion in your deck. 6 mana, 5/4. Too slow, probably bad. Also Hunter. You don't have the early game to support this. Probably bad. Even though you could get like High Main or something cool. It could work really cool with the new Hunter Legendary, but we'll get to that later. Crushing Walls. Garbage. Katharina, Winter Wisp, Battlecry, and Death Rattle, Recruit a Beast. This card's cool. This card might be able to make Hunter do something. I was mentioning that the Ooze might have some practical application. Recruiting a Beast is really easy to target. You can actually target specifically beasts with charge that are good, or Savannah Highmane. Savannah Highmane might be too slow, but you can get a card with instant effect. What I'm talking about is King Crush. Or Charge Devilsaur. If you see my last Devilsaur YouTube video, that was pretty fun. So, there's 3 beasts that you can get that are all a 7/7 or an 8/8 charger, and you get one for free when you play this, and then it can also go face if it's the Charged Devilsaur, and you get it one when it dies. So, like, on 8, you get a really large amount of stats. It actually might work. Like, it might not be unreasonable, especially with, like, defensive secrets and stuff like that. Like, Big Hunter might be real. It just really relies on drawing Katharina Winter Wisp, but that's okay because you have trackings. So, Big Hunter seems sweet. I'm interested to see that. I think that card's going to be kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it's going to be sweet. There's a difference between good and sweet, and it's going to be sweet, but it might not be good. Arcane Artifice, the thing. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to its cost. Is it 1 mana 1/2? No, this is garbage. The amount that this costs in your deck as a card is kind of ridiculous for the amount of healing that it's going to provide. You might as well just run Arcanologist and Barrier. This card's really trash. It's interesting because it's an elemental and you can discover it. So discovering this for free off something could be kind of cool when you need it. So that's the only thing that's good for it, but it's bad. Reveal a spell in each deck if yours costs more. Draw it. You have to play a lot of cheap spells in Mage, especially like Secrets, Frostbolt, that kind of stuff. Frost Nova if you're a controlling deck. It's a beast for Curators, so I could see this maybe seeing application in some sort of Curator Kazakus Mage, but other than that, it's trash. Lesser Ruby Spellstone. Add 1 Mage spell to your hand. Play 2 Elementals to upgrade. Ooh, they're really pushing this Elemental Mage. Play 2 Elementals to upgrade. It adds 2 random spells. Adds 3 random spells. This actually has really good synergy with one of the other cards that was released. It has really good synergy with our friend up here, Leyline. So the Leyline guy can work with that because it's an elemental and then it can reduce all of those spells by a bunch. And so that could be kind of cool. Elemental Mage. The thing is, it's not high tempo though. The random spells are high value, low tempo. So it's like a cheap Cabalist Tome. 2 mana Tome's still not very good. I don't know if it's enough to push Elemental Mage. This is a value card in Elemental Mage and the other one's a tempo card in Elemental. It seems like it probably won't sleep. I don't think Elemental Mage is going to make it. I'd be surprised if it does. If it does make it, obviously this card's amazing. But if Elemental Mage doesn't get enough support and doesn't make it, it's going to suck. It's about as simple as that. Explosive Runes. After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it and any excess damage to their hero. Face damage. Holy smokes. This is good. This is a secret that goes face for like Burn Mage, Arcanologist, Fireball, Frostbolt, Frost Nova, and the new weapon kind of deck. Burn Mage might be a thing. If Burn Mage is a thing, this is going to be insane. If Burn Mage isn't, it's not going to see play. But like all damage mage, like aggro mage thing, this sticker just might be good. This is solid. Like that's a lot of damage for mage. And then it works well with this. This is what I'm talking about, Burn Mage. Burn Mage might be a thing. Like at the end of your turn, draw 3 cards. Like constantly drawing cards. It's insane. You just like throw this at their face, throw fireballs at their face, frost over their board, draw your entire deck and keep play every card that deals damage and kill people, and then play Ice Block, and they're screwed. Because you Ice Block to be able to have enough mana to spend all of the cards that you draw off this, and all your cards are cards like this that just damage them in the face, and then they die. This card's bonkers. Will shape the meta in some way or another. Whether that's everyone playing weapon removal, or everyone having to play different decks that are fast enough that can kill them before they play this in Ice Block. Alright. Dry Gulch Jailer. Death Rattle add 3... Garbage. Slow, bad. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to your hero. 3 mana, 2/4 elemental. 3 mana, 2/4 is a decent stat line, but not a good stat line. Paladin's healing options are pretty bad right now. Elemental Paladin sounds dumb, and no, this card's not good. Won't see play. So, unless there's more elemental cards, right? Like, there may just be a ton that I haven't seen yet that make it good. Lesser Peril Spellstone. Summon a 2/2 Spirit with Taunt. Restore 3 health to upgrade. Okay, so these work together. So there's something going on here. A 2/2 with Taunt, and then it upgrades to a 4/4 with Taunt, and then a 6/6 with Taunt. So this is a healing, and then it gives you a Taunt so that you can be some weird anti-aggro Paladin. Also doesn't seem great. Paladin doesn't have a good burst finisher. Their finisher is their OTK combo, which is ridiculously hard to assemble. So their other finisher is like board control and tempo, and this isn't great for that because you have to play healing, which is so incredibly bad. Unidentified Maul gains a bonus effect in your hand, 3 mana, 2/2. All the effects are like, there's 2 effects that are okay, 1 effect that's good, and 1 effect that's bad for the Mauls. But the thing is, a 2 mana weapon, or a 2 damage weapon at turn 3 almost kills nothing, so that makes the card just inherently bad, even if the effects aren't that great. So, I think the card's bad. Give your Silver Hand recruits +2/+2 and Taunt. There's so much AoE in the current metagame. It's incredibly hard to stick a bunch of minions to the field, so this is not great, and it's not going to get any easier. Recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less for 4 mana, so you get 6 mana worth of value and deck thinning, but you have the downside of potentially not having enough 2-drops. 2-drops are pretty bad right now. Might be semi-playable, but I think it's leaning more towards bad. If there's enough decent 2-drops, you could make some weird tempo-y aggro Paladin. I'm not impressed. I think it's unlikely. But it's like it would be a good card if that archetype has enough support. Lanessa Sun Sorrow. Battlecry. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. Okay. Really bad. You're not... You need to cast 2 steeds. If you cast a steeds and a king, why aren't you playing a Bone Mare? You were able to land a steeds, you were able to land a kings, you could have landed the Bone Mare. So this card's trash. The Bone Mare's better. Unidentified Elixir. Give a minion +2/+2, gain a bonus effect in your hand. Giving a minion +2/+2 in Priest is crazy strong, because Priest has the hero power to heal, so you take a value trade with it, and then your turn 4 is just heal it, and it's really strong. So +2/+2 in Priest is good, almost no matter what it gets. Lifesteal, pretty bad for Priest, but might have some application. Divine Shield, really strong. Summon a 1/1 copy, I guess could work. Death Rattle, return this minion to your hand, pretty good for value. I think this card could be just decent. Like, it's kind of like Blessing of Velen, but kind of more RNG. But Velen's Blessing was crazy strong in Priest when it was a thing. Already there's like Tempo, Rizakis Priests and stuff like that, so you can put this in that. You can play like Dragon Priest with this. I think it's going to be solid. Dustbreaker, everyone knows this is broken, so this card's crazy broken. Will shape the metagame. One of the strongest cards they've like printed. Alright, Psychic Scream. Shuffle all minions into your opponent's deck. Huh. All minions on the board, all minions in your deck, all minions in your hand. I think it's all minions in the board. This is interesting. If your opponent's playing a combo deck, there won't be that many minions on the board, so then it won't do anything to stop their combo. If their opponent is playing play a bunch of minions deck, then you'll give them more fuel. So it's like Twisting Nether, but it also removes death rattles and stuff like that. It's better than Twisting Nether, and it's for Priest. This is good. So, this is really strong. The reason why it's really strong is because Rizakis Priest is a deck. So, since Rizakis Priest is a deck, board resets in that deck are insane, because board resets means you have more time to find your combo, you have more time to, OTK them. Like, in current Raza Priest, this is super broken. This card will see play in Raza Priest and will be good. Holy smokes. It's good versus control and aggro because you just get more time to Raza things. After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 dragon. I mean, it's okay. I don't think it's very good. I don't think it'll see too much play. I think there's also going to be a lot of weapon removal in the metagame that's going to hurt this because everyone's getting legendary weapons. Maybe if Dragon Priest is really good, but even still, like, it just seems bad. Your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns. Whoa. That is weird. What could you do in 2 turns? You could play Velen and then play spells. Why aren't you playing Raza Priest? Seems like most of the time as Priest, if your opponent takes 2 turns, you're going to die. And they get to take 2 turns first, and that seems better. So that seems not great. It seems like you can do some memes with it, but it doesn't seem good. Cheat Death. When a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand, it costs 2 less. When Gadgets and Auctioneer dies, return it to your hands and it costs 2 less. Broken. When a minion attacks your hero, instead it attacks one of its neighbors. Misdirection that guaranteed hits their own minion instead of their face. Broken. Kobold Illusionist. Death Rattle. Summon a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand. Too slow. 4 mana 3/3s are not good. And it's a Death Rattle, so they can control it, then kill the 1/1. Slow. If it had 2 health, it would be better, because then you could backstab it, but it's slow. Shuffle 3 ambushes into your deck. When drawn, summon a 4/4 Spooter into your own deck. So it's like tempo, board control miracle. I think it's worse than killing your opponent, right? So you could play this, which is a bad card on its own for the hopeful ability to get more spiders and then be able to win on tempo after going off on your gadget. Whereas instead, you could draw cards that kill your opponent, like the Malagos combo and stuff like that. So, not a fan. You draw after drawing it? I know you draw after drawing it. It's a 4 mana, summon a 4/4 spider, then you draw a card, cast this one, draw. So you don't have to actually play it. You just draw it, and then you draw a card. So, I still don't want to play a 4 mana 4/4. Like, I don't. I just want to play gadgets and spells and then cards that kill my opponent, so I never have to play a 4 mana 4/4, because free 4/4s don't kill my opponent. They slow them down a little bit, but it's never going to be enough. Alright, after a friendly minion dies, add a 1/1 copy of it to your hand. It costs 1. Friendly minion. The friendly minion dies. So you're ahead on board, you trade a bunch of friendly minions in. So you get ahead on board as Tempo Rogue. You then play this, you trade everything in, and you get a bunch of 1/1 copies of minions that cost 1. This could be good, but I'm leaning towards bad. But you play Prince on turn 2, you play this on turn 3, you trade the Prince in, you win the game. So I think this might actually be good. There's some application for it, but yeah, playing this after you play Prince is pretty cool. But it's a 3 mana 2/2. Doubling Vile Spines, like trading that, SIs. Yeah. It's still a 3 mana 2/2 though. So it's a card that's not killing your opponent. So you have to have a dead card in your hand. So I think it's close. But I think it might see play in current Tempo Rogue. Could in Jade Rogue. Jade Rogue. Alright, Kobold Hermit. Battlecry. Choose a basic totem, summon it. This is cool, but Shaman's really bad. There's tons of AoE in every deck, but yeah, it's a card. Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a random basic totem. Wow, that's bad. Summon 1 copy of a friendly minion, unplayable. Transfer a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more, repeatable this turn. So you have the option to repeat it? Interesting. Kind of cool. So then you can kind of control the Evolve RNG a little bit. Well, Shaman's unplayable, so. If you control all 4 basic totems, summon Alakir the Windlord. Why don't you Bloodlust them and kill them? Not good. It's better than Bloodlusting them, isn't it? No. They'll just start killing totem. No, this isn't good. Return your other minions to your hand. They cost 1. Interesting elemental finisher. 6 mana 7/7. Replay your battle cries. This is like they're trying to make this weird totem deck thing. I think it's gonna be it's a freeze shaman flop, so I think it's gonna be a freeze shaman flop. This card's trash. At turn 8, you don't want to be swinging your 3 damage weapon into a Bone Mared minion, and that's what the board's gonna be because it's Hearthstone and people play Bone Mare on 7. Draw a card, deal 2 damage to your hero. Pretty good. Drawing cards are insane. Weird Warlock combos. There needs to be some Warlock healing, but I think standalone, this card's pretty good. Extra card draw is insane in a deck that already has the card draw engine, and it's for one. One is sweet. Vulgar Homunculus. Taunt. Battlecry, deal 2 damage to your hero. Bad. It's a 2-mana 2/4, which is okay. Downside, deal 2 damage here. I don't know, it might be good. This is good. Wait. It's a demon. Demon. You can demon fire. You can do the 3-mana demon spell. This is good. I thought this was going to be bad, but being a demon, the Warlock buffs. You don't even think about Warlock buffs anymore. But holy smokes. And Zoo, this is going to be so sick. You play the 3-mana demon fire potion, dragon fire as like application. The demon curve is really good actually right now. There's like a bunch of 1/3 demons, a 3/2 demon. So you can have, and then you have the 2/4 demon. You're taking Keleseth out of Zoo. You have the 4/5 Despicable Dreadlord. Yeah, Zoos with buffs, man. Holy smokes. The demon buff line right now is actually insane. This card's going to be, like, board control demon Zoo is insane. Lifesteal. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Take damage from your cards to upgrade. Deal 5 damage, deal 7 damage. You might even just play this. Probably not, though. 4-mana, deal 5 is not good enough. And you're not concerned about your own life total because you're a board control aggro deck. So the lifesteal part isn't great. Take any damage from your cards. So you have to play like Hellfire. I could see this be played in some more control-y thing. The lifesteal prospect's good. I don't see it being making the cut in Zoo, but it's pretty good for maybe control warlocks. Might be able to play it with like some sort of Hellfire Abyssal Enforcer Zoo. Or I mean Hellfire Abyssal Enforcer Warlock Control Gul'dan thing. So I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. The 2/4 is better. This is okay. Destroy all minions, discard your hand. Not having a hand is a bummer. This may be good for some sort of crazy wacky combos, but you complete the quest really quick. You play this on turn 4, play the quest on turn 5, and then top deck. I imagine that's not going to be good, because if that was good, that would be really silly. So, not great. Taunt, Death Rattle, summon 3/1/3 demons with Taunt. Nope. Right? Is there a way to bring a demon out for free? This is good with Cruel. Cruel pull this out is sweet. The Death Rattle has taunts too, which is pretty sweet. But other than being with Cruel, it's not that great. It revolves back with the Death Knight. So the Death Knight, you get a bunch of taunts with your Death Knight. But it's a 9-mana card. 9-mana 3/9. I'm going to say it's probably not great. 9-mana 3/9s sound really bad. Someone will silence it and kill you. At the start of your turn, summon a demon from your hand. Now we can see where this might be good. If this demon's in your hand and you summon it, it's sweet. 5 mana, so it does nothing, then the start of your next turn makes something. So you have to invest, like, a little bit of mana into making it. You have to do 5 mana, do nothing, and then they have to not remove it, then you can do it. So weapon removal, still seems worse than not playing this and then trying to control the board and play the Death Knight. So I think controlling the board and play the Death Knight's going to be better for Control Warlock. This isn't going to see playing soon. Taunt, this whole thing's bad. We don't even need to talk about it. We all know that's bad. Gather your party. 6 mana, recruit a minion. Trying to do some like big warrior stuff. Are warriors control tools good enough to do that? 6 mana compared to 4 mana. And it recruits it, so it doesn't revive it or anything. So I think you'll run out of threats in Warrior, honestly. Because, like, Big Priest already has issues where against some of the control decks, it runs out of threats. Warrior will more heavily run out of threats because it's recruiting instead of reviving. Play Dino Warrior. All weapons, and then revive Devil Swords and charge them at people's face. Also doesn't seem great. These both seem garbage. Like, this one upgrades to make a bunch of 5/5s, which plays into every AoE available. Comes down on 7, so they can play Anduin immediately after. Kill your dreams. This is trash. That's Dragonfire. This is trash. You have to build your deck around it, and then it's also not good. Fantastic. At the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor, up to 10. At the end of your turn. Why don't you, this costs 8. Why don't you just play a 10-drop? You just play a good 8-drop instead of playing this. Doesn't seem great. Death Rattle, give your opponent 2 coins. 4 mana, 5/6. That seems like a good way to get yourself killed. Recruit a minion that costs 4 or less. Currently, there's not too many things that cost 4 or less that are particularly good. Flame with Faceless comes to mind as something that's extremely powerful, but I think this is something to look at, but not necessarily particularly good, because it's a 5-drop and you're summoning a 4-drop, so you're basically getting a free 2/4, so the benefit is going to be tempo, and it's hard to capitalize on that tempo if you don't have any minions 1 through 3 in your deck, so I think it's probably bad. Garbage. Meme card, if you could charge it, it could do something cool. If you control no other minions, gain Taunt and Divine Shield. This is going to be pretty sweet as a defensive option, especially in Raza decks, or not Raza decks, sorry, Singleton decks. Raza being the most prevalent Singleton deck. You could play this alongside Tar Creeper, or instead of Tar Creeper, and it's pretty sweet. It's kind of like a Tar Creeper that can't be used in aggro as well. Seems good. Hungry Etten. Taunt, Battlecry. Summon a random 2-cost minion for your opponent. This is funny. If you could summon a toxic minion, there are 2-drops that have poisonous that would then instantly kill this and be hilarious. Most of the time, against decks that you're trying to defend against, so decks where you want to play a 4/10 taunt, they can capitalize on minions on board, which is why you want to play taunts against them. It's also really big versus Priest. So, could do pretty good as, like, you're playing against Priest a lot, just jam this in, it's got 4 attack. I don't know. It seems like a suboptimal tech card that may see occasional play, but not be a staple in anything. Return one of your destroyed weapons to your hand. This is like an anti-weapon removal card that's not good enough. The stats are so bad. A 3 mana 1/3. You get your legendary weapon back to make you feel better. So it's like their attempt at making a tech card for a problem that they expect to happen, but they make the tech card too bad to ever see play. But it might see occasional play, like Eater of Secrets saw occasional play and stuff, if it starts being really prevalent. But I don't imagine this seeing too much play. Arcane Tyrant, 5 mana, costs 0 if you've cast a spell that costs 5 or more this turn. Whoa. This is the support Elemental Mage needed. So, Elemental Mage is something that they've been trying to push for a little while now, and we've gotten some support for Elemental Mage. Fireland Sport will get an additional free 4/4. Like, 0 mana 4/4s is a great way to push tempo. It is a great way to recover the tempo lost when playing 5 mana 4/5, get an Elemental. So this might be able to help push Elemental Mage to be a thing. The biggest problem about Elemental Mage is it can't utilize the new weapon, which the new weapon is broken in Mage, and it can't utilize Bone Mare super well, and Bone Mare is broken. So I'm not so sure. Elemental Mage seems iffy. It's still, this is a step towards it. Elemental Mage is definitely going to be something to look at. Alright, Carnivorous Cube, Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion, Death Rattle, summon 2 copies of it. So if you're playing a board control matchup and you can play this without dying, you win. Because you get 2 copies of whatever your minion was and you're just that far ahead against your opponent. So this card is like super crazy strong if you can play it without dying, because you get the loss of tempo of killing your own minion, but then you get the regain of tempo of doubling it. So it's like a crazy powerful faceless, faceless. And it's a 5 mana 4/6, which is actually really good. So you could just kind of jam this in every deck if you can play it and not die. Really strong, potentially. Or potentially totally useless. It may be so much that the metagame is so fast that when you destroy a friendly minion, they kill you. And if they kill you and you destroy a friendly minion, then you're not going to want to destroy a friendly minion because you'll be dead. So it's either going to be really good or really bad. Battlecry, reveal a spell from your deck, summon a random minion with the same cost. I think this card could be potentially super good, especially if Paladin is strong, because Paladin at the moment can play just Kings and just Steeds as their only spells in their deck, and then that means this is going to be making a beefy minion every time. It's probably pretty strong in any sort of tempo deck where they have buffs that cost a high mana amount, so Paladin is the only one I can think of right now, but there may be others. And yeah, if you play like a 4-costing spell off the reveal, it does work. So I think this card's decent. Sets up for Bone Mare, by the way. That's another big reason why I think this is good. Turn 6, you create 2 minions. Turn 7, Bone Mare one of them. So it's insane. At the end of your turn, cast a spell from your deck. Targets chosen randomly. At the end of every turn, cast a spell from your deck. Secrets are considered spells, right? You could duplicate ice blocks. No. Does it take the spell out of your deck? Or does it just... yeah, it takes it out of your deck. It doesn't cast a copy, so you can't duplicate ice blocks like that. This costs 8, and it's a 4/7, and it could fireball yourself in the face. This seems like a meme. Choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy of it to your hand. Seems really slow, but could allow some sort of broken combos that we're not really expecting. Maybe used in a combo deck, but most likely trash. Be fun to try and experiment out with what combos you could try and do, because it is neutral, so you can play it in every class. So, creating copies of units from every class. Meme card. Or potentially super busted combo. There's like no in between. Either there's a sweet meme that you do and it's hilarious, or there's a crazy busted combo that this allows you to accomplish somewhere. You can do it in Rizaka's Priest with like Kazakis. There are Highlander decks with Kazakis, but you do it Quest Rogue, but it's like another Youthful Brew, but Quest Rogue's still gonna be bad. Garbage, you've played it. King Togwaggle. Swap decks with your opponent. Give them a ransom spell to swap back. 8 mana 5/5. No. So this card's garbage. And that is all of them.